What's up and welcome to FPL Today. I'm your host JNO and welcome to the channel and welcome to the start of the Fantasy Premier League. It is finally live, so go to the Fantasy Premier League website, go start your team and then come back to the channel, start watching the shows and get ready to pick your team and hopefully get a great ranking. I really want to help you guys get the best ranking possible. So if you're new to the channel and you love FPL, consider subscribing. Hit that like button just for Fantasy Premier League being live. And let's get into this episode, getting ready to pick our teams, and we are focusing on formations. But before we get into the video, if you're as hyped as I am about the Fantasy Premier League and 30 days of FPL, go check out the new release t-shirt on Teespring, 30 days of FPL. Show everyone what you're watching during pre-season. And if they ask you what it is, tell them it's the show that's going to help me beat you in the mini leagues. Anyway, so formations. If you're new to FPL, you may not know what is the most common formations that the top managers play, which get us the highest amount of points and get us to beat everyone else in our mini leagues. Now, if you are a seasoned FPL player, you will know the formations that are most used, but there's still something in this video that will be useful for you because we are going to actually look at how effective the top formation is and if we should maybe start considering reverting to the second most popular formation, but we'll get into all of that during this episode. First off, we're just going to start off by teaching everyone new to the channel and new to FPL what the most popular formation is, and it is 3-4-3. Now, there's a good reason for 3-4-3 being the most popular formation, and that is purely because if you think about it, strikers are the most likely to score goals, which means strikers are also in the box and going to be involved in more than just the goals. They may also get the assists. So for years now, 3-4-3 has been the go-to formation because you can have the likes of Harry Kane, Sergio Aguero getting you loads of points. They're triple captain options and they are generally players that everyone is talking about and everyone is excited when they score. So the general propensity for players is to go for the 3-4-3. But the second most popular formation is coming into fashion just a little bit, and I predict that this season it may come into fashion even more, and it is the 3-5-2. Now, the reason for that is if you think about how football is currently being played, there are less strikers up front than there used to be. Clubs are generally playing one man up front now instead of two, so there is less striker options scoring big points. Meanwhile, people and teams are packing out the midfield, which means there are more midfield options playing far more advanced than they used to play and being able to pick you up those points. You get out of position options like Joshua King, you get players like Sigurdsson who can score goals and assists, and if you're getting goals and assists that are higher than the amount of goals and assists that strikers are scoring as a midfielder, you are going to be getting more points. You also have the clean sheet point, which you can also get as a midfielder, which you can't get as a striker, and generally midfielders are cheaper, so you can load up on maybe one more prime target that overall will get you more points than if you didn't have that additional prime target in your side. Now, the other formations in the top 5 are the 4-4-2, the 4-3-3 and the 4-5-1, but seriously, the percentage they are played is really, really low. Only 3-5-2 comes anywhere close to the 3-4-3, and it may be something to consider for this Fantasy Premier League season moving forward, the 3-5-2. If we look at the propensity for points, wow, that was a bit of a tongue twister. If we actually look at the players that got 170 points or more in a season, we can see that 3 defenders got more than 170 points, 10 midfielders did, and only 4 strikers got more than 170 points. So there was almost as many defenders getting 170 points plus as strikers. Now, you also have to take into consideration that value-wise, defenders are going to be cheaper than midfielders generally. Midfielders are generally going to be cheaper than strikers. So if these players are getting around the same amount of points, a midfielder getting it gives you more money to pick another player somewhere else or upgrade a player somewhere else. So that's another reason why 3-5-2 may come into fashion. Now, it all depends if there's a cheap striker option scoring goals. There wasn't really a nailed on perfect cheap striker option last season. The season before, you had Jamie Vardy, who started off quite cheap. You didn't have him this season. Your players were Fernando Llorente, Christian Benteke. If you had enough budget, maybe Jermaine Defoe. But compared to, say, Joshua King and Gylfi Sigurdsson, they weren't scoring as many points as those two, so it was better putting the midfielders in than it would have been putting those cheap strikers in. Now, you're always going to be trying to get the premium targets in, like Alexis Sanchez and the Dele Allis and the Harry Kanes, but it's what you do outside of those premium targets in the mid-price range and the cheap range which really separates you from the rest of the pack in the FPL ranking. Another thing to look at is why the two most popular formations only have 3 defenders, and that is because you have the option of £4 million defenders and goalkeepers in the FPL, but you don't have that in midfield and up front. Now, that is going to save you on budget if you plan to just put these players on the bench and not worry about them. If they're just bench fodder, you might as well have bench fodder that is at 4 million. So when you only have 100 million, when the budget is tighter, because you can up your transfer value as the season goes on. But at the start, everyone has 100 million. And if you want the big prime targets in your midfield and up front, you need to be saving money somewhere. So that is why everyone plays 3 at the back. And finally, the 3-4-3 versus 3-5-2 argument. And I'm not saying I'm going to play 3-5-2. I'm just giving you guys the option of considering this, because I'll probably still play 3-4-3. It's kind of ingrained in me, the amount of time I've played Fantasy Premier League. But the top point scorer last season was a midfielder in Alexis Sanchez. The second highest scorer was also a midfielder in Dele Alli. Then you do finally have a forward in Harry Kane. But then you have another midfielder in Eden Hazard coming in at 4th. Then a forward in Romelu Lukaku coming in at 5th. Then 2 midfielders before Diego Costa, Christian Eriksen and Kevin De Bruyne. Gylfi Sigurdsson, a lot cheaper than a lot of these options, coming in just under Diego Costa, but above the likes of Firmino and Aguero. And then we have Joshua King also coming at 178 points. But if you got him at the beginning of the game, he was 5.5 million. So that is why you should consider which formation you are going to play. If there is no good option as a cheap striker, 3-5-2 may be the best option for you. All of that being said, 3-4-3 is still the most popular formation amongst the top players. It probably is still the formation I'll be aiming to play at the beginning of the season, and hopefully we'll be able to figure out who a cheap striker is that will get us the FPL points. But maybe if you want to trailblaze a bit, and if you're trying to catch up a mini league leader, 3-5-2 is something to consider. Anyway guys, that is my take on formations in the Fantasy Premier League game. I hope I helped you new guys, and I hope I gave you veterans something to think about when picking your FPL sides and throughout the season, as we all try and get the best rank possible. If you've enjoyed the content, again, please hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel and you want more stuff like this to help you get into the Fantasy Premier League or get better at the Fantasy Premier League, please subscribe. Check out all the links in the description down below if you want to support the channel, and Teespring, 30 days of FPL t-shirts, so go check that out. I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.